seen introduction of finite and non-finite verbs, and after that we had gone through the infinitives, that is one of the non-finite verbs, and now two other non-finite verbs are left, that is gerund and participle. So we are going to study gerund and participle in this video. But before we start, let's have a small recap of the introduction of finite and non-finite. Let's have a recap. Finite verbs depends on the subject, number of people and tense. That means when the tense or subject or number of people used in the subject change, finite verbs also changes accordingly. Whereas non-finite verbs do not depend on the subject or tense. That means irrespective of any subject or any tense, non-finite verbs remain the same. Here in all examples we can see different verb forms like eat, eats, will eat and ate. Why so? Because in all sentences different tenses are used, and that's why they are called finite verbs. Therefore, we can say that finite verbs depend on subject, number of people and tense. Now let's compare finite and non-finite verbs with example. In these examples, we can see the use of different verb forms like start, starts and will start because they are finite verbs. Whereas after those finite verbs, we have used another verb, walking, in all sentences, which does not change with the change in subject or tense. In first two sentences, present tense is used, and in last tense, future tense is used. Still, the verb remains the same. As there is no change in the verbs, it is called non-finite. Now in non-finites, we have three categories: gerund, infinitive and participles. As we had discussed earlier, infinitives is already discussed in last video, so now let us start with gerund. What is gerund? Gerund is a verb which is used as a noun. Listen carefully. It is a verb, but it's used as a noun, and the form of gerund is V1 plus ing. It plus ing become eating. So eating is a gerund. Now let's see how we can use gerund. Gerund is used in the beginning of the sentence, that is in place of subject. Going to parties is fun. Here going is gerund, and as it is used in the beginning, it is used in place of subject. The next use of gerund is it can be used as an object too. In this example, I like reading. Reading is a gerund which is used as an object. Now, how can we say that it is an object? Well, to find object, we need to ask question with what to the finite verb. Here, like is a finite verb. So we have to ask question, I like what? In answer, we will get reading. So reading is object of this sentence. So finally we can sense that gerund used as a subject and it can be used as an object. Now next use of gerund is it can be used after the following verbs. Now, once again, gerunds are used after special phrases. Now, what is phrase? Phrase means group of words. So, you have to read again. Well, so we have seen it, and next is uses gerund can be used as the complement of the verb to be. Now, what do you mean by complement? So, dear children, complement is a word or phrase that tells us more about the subject. In this example, one of the duties is the subject, and after that, to be verb is written. But if we write only is, it does not make clear sense to us. So we have used gerund attending as the complement of the verb to be. So here attending is complementing to be verb is. In the next example also, learning is a gerund and it is used to complement the to be verb is. So we can say that gerunds can be used as the complement of the verb to be. In both examples, gerund are attending and learning, which is used after to be verbs. Next use of gerund. Gerunds can be used after prepositions. Example, can you sneeze without opening your mouth? Here without is the preposition, and after without we have used opening gerund. And in the next example, she is good at painting. At is the preposition, and after that painting v1 plus ing, painting gerund is used. Now next use of gerund is it is used after phrasal verbs. Phrasal verb is the combination of two or three words like verb and particle such as adverb or preposition. Here in both sentences, after verbs, prepositions are used. So, here kept on or give up are not only verb but they are phrasal verbs. And after these phrasal verbs, we have used gerund. The next and the last use of gerunds is it is used in compound nouns. Compound means to join, to connect. Here, RTO officer will give Sally a driving license. Here, driving is a gerund. After gerund, license is the noun. So, driving and license both are the combination of two nouns. Here, driving license means that the license for driving. This is all about gerund. Now let's learn participles. Present participle, past participle and perfect participle. Present participle is very identical to gerund in its form. That means both takes v1 plus ing. Present participle is a word which is partly a verb and partly an adjective. For example, we met a girl carrying a basket full of vegetables. Here, carrying, it is the gerund and it is used as a verb because it shows the action of carrying. The next example, knocking at the door, he tried to draw their attention. Here, knocking is also a kind of action. And here it is again used as a verb. Now next comes past participle. Past participle means V3, third form of the verb. Past participles usually end with ed, d, t, en or n. In this example, lost, broken and taken, the last blue words Blue letters are T, En and N. It makes them V3. Lose, lost, lost, break, broke, broken, and take, took, taken. Now next, uses of past participles. Past participles can be used in three ways. First use in passive voice. In this example, a glass of milk is the object. So when the sentence starts with object, it is called to be passive. So here drunk is used in passive voice. Same way in the next sentence, grown V3 is used. As here also, wit is the object, and when the sentence starts with object, it is called passive. Next use of past participle is it can be used in perfect tense. Whether it is present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, we have to use V3 form. In the example, I have drawn a beautiful cartoon. My grandmother had sung a bhajan last night. So here after have and had, we can see the use of V3, that is past participle. It is mandatory to use V3 in all perfect tenses. In present perfect, in past perfect, and in future perfect. After have, will have, had, we have to use V3 form. And the last use of past participle is it can be used as an adjective. In example, this is a broken mirror. Here mirror is a thing, that's why it is noun. How is the mirror? If we ask such question, we get the answer broken. So broken is V3 form, but it is used as an adjective. In the next example, why did you write on a torn paper? So paper is noun, and if we ask question, what type of paper? The answer is torn. So torn is adjective. So here both V3 are used as an adjective. Now next and the last participle is perfect participle. The perfect participle generally indicates the completed action or the action, one action done after the other. And we can use the form having plus V3, like having taken, having flown. So having indicates that action is completed. And V3, like take, took, taken. So taken is V3. Fly, flew, flown. So flown is V3. So after having, we have to use V3 form in perfect participle. Now in active and passive voice, we use different verb forms. In active voice, we have to use having plus V3. In example, having taught the chapter, teacher asked questions. And having drawn the picture, I put it in the showcase. So here, as it is in active voice, we have used having plus V3. How can we say it is active? Because the teacher has asked the question, and in the next, I put it in the showcase. So it starts with subject. And in the next, passive voice, having plus been plus V3 is used as the verb form. Examples: having been beaten up, she began to cry. Here, someone else has beaten up her. She has not beaten up herself. So, we are using passive verb form here, and therefore, between having and V3, we have used been. Having been beaten up. In the next sentence also, having been defeated by the opponent. Means here he is defeated by someone else, that is opponent. Okay. understood the non-finites, and the rest we will do in our class. Whatever doubts you have, it will surely be solved. We will discuss it, and I advise you that as this topic is having many rules, so you have to remember many things here. So it is advisable that you take down the explanations, examples, whatever is there in the slides. It's better you take down because they will be useful to you before exam preparation. You can just go through them again and again. So take down these notes and do your assignments also in your note. Take care of yourself.